What's up, Zach here, and these are the 5 biggest lies and myths about orthotics that people still believe. Here we go. And before we get to the actual lies and myths, you got to know the difference between an insole and an orthotic. An insole is exactly what it says it is. It's an inner sole, right? There's the outsole of the shoe, the midsole, and then the insole. And this is basically just a sock liner. It's something to give you a little more comfort and cushion so your foot isn't directly on the shoe's strobe board, which is what the uppers are sewn to. It actually what makes the shoe continuous underneath. An orthotic is actually meant to influence lower limb biomechanics, redistribute pressure, improve alignment, whereas an insole is basically just for straight up cushion. All right, but now that we got that out of the way, let's get to myth or lie number 1, and that's that orthotics actually fix flat foot. Or I guess I should say really fix any misalignment in the foot. Now, although orthotics can and do improve joint alignment and redistribute pressure in a more efficient way, orthotics will never actually change your arch in any permanent way. What's actually happening is the orthotic is managing your flat foot, not really fixing it. When you put an orthotic on, it's really regulating those ground reactive forces shooting up your foot and reducing stress on abnormally overloaded parts of your foot and leg. And the biggest thing you gotta remember is no one has a normal foot. There's just no such thing. And when you play sports, you're introducing these bizarre and non-standard joint motions, so any inconsistency in your gait or general weight bearing is gonna be much more noticeable versus someone who just sits around all day. And so instead of fixing your flat foot, the orthotic is just redistributing the pressure to make your gait, your walking, or whatever, movements you're doing for whatever sport more efficient, and it's not allowing as much overload on those tissues, which would be overloaded given the inconsistencies in everybody's gait. And like a lot of things in this video, you can think of orthotics like you do glasses. Glasses will help you see better. They will not magically give you LASIK eye surgery. All right, myth or lie number 2, and that's that custom orthotics are better than over-the-counter. All right, so there are a lot of layers to this one, but I'm gonna distill it down to one sentence. There is no credible evidence in the peer-reviewed research that custom orthotics perform any better than over-the-counter. The shades of gray to all this is that there's so many levels of quality in over-the-counter orthotics, from the absolute just garbage snake oil out there to the really well-engineered design and build orthotics. One day I'll do an ultimate orthotic test, but there are just so many brands, most of whom are just copying each other back and forth. Honestly, it just annoy me too much. And that actually brings me right into myth or lie number 3, and that's that all custom orthotics are actually custom. And if you're a patient of mine watching this video right now, you probably know where I'm about to go with this, because this one boils my blood like you wouldn't believe, because companies right now are really trying to blur the line between custom and customized. Because here's what'll happen. What some stores and companies will do is they'll measure your foot size, like in the shoe store, put your foot on a pressure mat, then take out an insole that has a lower or higher arch and call it custom because it is customized to your general arch height. What some others will do is put some insoles in an oven, have you step on them and call that custom, which is at least a little bit more honest, but still not actually custom because the actual last of the orthotic or the shape of the orthotic isn't made to your foot. You're just putting an impression on an already generic over-the-counter orthotic. But then the worst are the ones where they'll take out this 2-cent piece of plastic orthotic and then take out a little drawer of some stickers with a little bit of padding on it, and then they'll just put it on an area based on a chart they have, call it custom, and then charge you a couple $100s for it. The only way to get an actual custom orthotic is to have a mold of your foot taken by someone who actually knows how to do it with either a scanner, foam box, or plaster, and then have a lab or a person shape the entire device to your foot with materials chosen for your particular needs. It doesn't matter if it's a scanner, it doesn't matter if it's plaster, it doesn't matter if it's a foam crush box. It just matters that it's actually custom to your entire foot. So just remember, if you want truly custom, go see your local sports medicine foot doctor or orthopedic surgeon, get an exam, and then build the custom device as a collaboration with your doctor. Because any good doctor will go through all the options to make it a truly one-of-one device, because that's what it should be, one of one. Now, the elephant in the room to this myth is, do you really need a custom device? Like I said before, a lot of the time, no. But there are plenty of issues in the foot and leg that I do think benefit from custom orthotics. The way I see it about custom versus over-the-counter is, over-the-counter is like a Chevy, custom is like a Cadillac. They will both get you where you need to go. The Cadillac or the Custom is just gonna have more bells and whistles on it. All right, but getting into the fourth myth or lie, and honestly, this one, I don't know where this came from, but it's gaining traction. And that's that orthotics will weaken your arch or like atrophy your foot muscles or just weaken your foot in general. Now, contrary to popular talking points by proponents of barefoot only training, foot orthotics do not weaken the intrinsic foot muscles or arches, nor do they cause any dependency on the intrinsic or extrinsic muscles of your foot. And having said that, I will preface this for the 1000th time on this channel. I love barefoot training. I think barefoot anatomic shoes are fantastic. They have clear and defined use cases, but that does not mean that orthotics are going to weaken your foot muscles or that they are bad or that barefoot shoes are for every single person in every single case. It's just not the truth. All right, but getting back to the actual myth that orthotics cause dependency, atrophy, weaken foot muscles. The research actually shows the exact opposite. The research shows that orthotics actually allow intrinsic muscles to function more efficiently. A really well done 12-week study examining muscle size and EMG activity found no decrease in muscle activation or atrophy in intrinsic foot muscles during gait, even after consistent orthotic use. Now, this is consistent with other broad reviews demonstrating orthotics do reduce strain on the plantar fascia and modulate neural strategies rather than actually suppressing muscle use. And long-term biomechanical studies reveal that orthotics assist in alignment and distribute forces more evenly across the foot, helping reduce injury risk without altering baseline muscle activation patterns. If anything, what they do is allow you to activate muscles you may not have been activating because of abnormal gait mechanics. And there were a few studies in the early 90s and early 2000s that showed that even in neurologically impaired people, orthotics still improved gait stability without causing any muscle atrophy. And that was confirmed through dynamic EMG and gait analysis. So I mean, this claim that like arch support leads to disuse atrophy, it's just not supported by any rigorous study. In fact, like I said, EMG results repeatedly showed preserved or enhanced muscle coordination with orthotic use. So going back to the glasses analogy, it's the same thing. Misrepresenting orthotics as a crutch is the same thing as like saying glasses or crutches for your eyes, or saying that wearing glasses will somehow weaken your eyes just because they're helping you see. All right, and the fifth myth about orthotics is that comfort is the most important part of the orthotic. Truth is, I usually don't start assessing comfort of an orthotic till about 2 to 3 weeks into somebody wearing them. Because remember the goal of orthotics: redistribute pressure, better alignment, more efficient gait. If your body is used to doing things for a certain amount of time, yes, let's say flat foot or, tendinitis that's caused by flat foot. Yes, the orthotic might start to help that out and not cause all that overload in those tendons. But the other parts of your foot that now might start get activating more are not used to that, right? Or you just might not used to having that level of support underneath your arch. And what's gonna happen? It's gonna be like a shoe or I should say like a more stiff boot. It's gonna take some time to break in. What we wanna see is pain relief from what is pathological. We want to see overuse injuries not happen. That's the goal. Comfort comes from that. So a lot of times someone will bring in like some squishy orthotic or something that say, well, it's comfortable because I step on it, it's okay. But they're kind of ignoring what the real aim of orthotics are. And that's kind of the difference. If you want a shoe insole that's the most comfortable, that's a little bit of a different story. An orthotic is actually meant to do something, to, cause a change. And change sometimes is uncomfortable for a little while. So just remember that any good orthotic, you'll probably have to have at least a little bit of break-in, if not days to a week or so. And remember, there are so many shades of gray to this. As I am, recording this video, I've probably got, 5, 10 custom orthotics at a lab being made for patients because they would benefit them, from them versus over the counter. I've got a ton of people that are in barefoot training regimens because I think that will do better for them versus some orthotics. So I mean, like I said, all these, there's no hard and fast rule, especially with orthotics, because there are just so many shades of gray to them. Feel free to fact check all of these videos, right? If you think I'm wrong, you've got some evidence as to the contrary, please let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of that, if you do want to see top 5 myths that people are just perpetuating like crazy about ankle braces these days, make sure you click into this video right here, subscribe down below. I'll see you in that video.